Hello, everybody. This is History After Hours podcast. Today is Wednesday, March the 14th, and I recorded this podcast with my co-host, Ron Franklin, and we had a good time. We talked about the death of Stephen Hawking. We talked a little bit about the walkouts that were occurring today over the school violence and the shootings, a little bit about Trump's crazy cabinet that's been, Tillerson getting fired. And then we ended with talking about who is the greatest American. So if you took George Washington and Lincoln out of the conversation, who would you nominate? Because my kids are going through this in class and we're trying to figure out who is the greatest American and how would you define great? So we're going to talk a little bit about all of those things today. Make sure to look us up on SoundCloud and Facebook and YouTube and all the other places, Twitter, that we are located, and we will see you in Italy next week. So be on the lookout. We're going to try to record a few podcasts while we are overseas next week on spring break in Italy. So look out for that as well. Enjoy the show. All right, so let's start with just a small moment of silence for the great Stephen Hawking.
Oh man! All right, you ready?
Yes. Okay.
I don't know how long a moment is supposed to be. I think technically it's like 90 seconds or something. Yeah. Honest, but I mean that was, he'll forgive us because now he's.
Well, of course, time is really
it's irrelevant now to him, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It might be irrelevant to us too.
It very well might be. I'm gonna go ahead and pretend like that's true. What time is it? I don't know.
With
I don't
string
care.
theory.
Yeah.
And what time
is?
He
was like. I didn't realize he was as old. They said he was 76. I didn't know that. I didn't realize he was that old.
He got diagnosed in like the 60s with ALS.
Yeah.
And they gave him just a few years to live, I think.
Oh wow.
And it's 2018.
Yeah, he made a good run.
Real good run.
Is that in poor taste?
Oh wow!
Sorry. Yeah, I didn't mean it that way. If that's the way it came across.
Yeah.
But seriously, he pulled that through, right? He was still effective, still did his job, still was. Yeah. It's so weird that your body can betray you like that.
One of the greatest minds trapped in a body that's.
Yeah. What if he hadn't had the technology to be able to communicate? Like, imagine him living 100 years ago and being a super genius, but now being trapped in that body. They would have put him in an asylum or something probably.
What would you rather be? Of course, this could be considered politically incorrect, but would you rather be like him where your body pretty much is gone, but your brain is awesome and you can take life in? Or would you rather have your brain completely hampered where life's not really coming at you very well, yet your body works fine? You can run around, but you have like the brain of a 5-year-old or a 4-year-old.
I like mobility, but
if you don't have the brain to go,
I guess just ignorance can be bliss. If I'm happily, if I'm happily ignorant and I can run around and do things and I don't know, I don't know that, but I'm not that. I think I would rather know things. Golly, that's tough though. I'd hate to be like, and he was absolutely by the end, right? Like he couldn't.
Any picture you see of him in the past 10 years has not looked good. But
he could control that chair with his mind, right?
Yeah. Apparently, okay. So in the 90s, he could move a tear duct. And they put something on it, and he has a control of some part of his lower eye.
Really?
For a while. Now, I don't know how he was doing it at the end.
Huh.
I don't know how.
I've heard rumors of like electrodes, but I don't know how true that is. I don't really know.
Wow.
He was it him or was it Elon Musk or maybe both who have been sort of postulating recently that, our time on this planet's going to be shortened.
He was very worried about the human race as a whole, and he made a big splash a couple years ago about aliens. He said we don't want any aliens coming here because he just thinks that they would enslave us and it would be over.
Yeah.
Because anytime it's more advanced, if they got here, they're obviously more advanced.
If they could show up here, it would be like, I don't know. Well, honestly, I don't know what it would be like, but it seems like it would be like when any technologically advanced group of people would come through and dominate other group of people. So imagine that from an alien race with technology to be able to get here. There's no way we'd be able to compete with that.
But we also are thinking of this as from a human perspective. Well, maybe an alien race doesn't have that desire to.
Well, maybe
they don't even need to conquer.
That's a good point. We don't know.
Maybe they don't need our resources. Maybe they just want to say what's up.
Maybe
they want to help us.
Maybe they're pacifists. Who knows?
Maybe so.
That could be a thing. I mean, yeah, you're right. We take it from our perspective because that's what we would do. Don't you think that if we had the technology to go somewhere else and there were other people who were less advanced, we would go and
we have done that.
Well,
repeatedly in history.
But I mean, interplanetary. We would continue that same process, right? We haven't learned our lessons. We haven't become less aggressive or brutal.
If Mars was full of oil, we'd have sucked it dry by now.
There you go. We'd already be there.
We'd be there.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, that's a sad commentary on humanity, I suppose. Well, that's weird because we just got through talking about with my sophomores. We're studying World War I, and the way I started that story was we've actually spent 3/4 of the year now studying human development, the rise of civilization, and especially when you get to the 1800s, like all the technological, wizardry that we've come up with, and we've enhanced people's lives, and we have consumerism and more products for more people and more avenues to success for more folks. And then we take in 4 years, we try to tear it all down. It's weird to see because we weren't, instead of living in these mega cities with all this industry and all of these technological things that make our lives wonderful, we saw men living in ditches in the earth, right? They actually lived like animals in the earth. So that's the opposite, right? We're slaughtering each other wholesale. That's a weird thing. And I guess, we'd like to think that we'll advance someday past that, but I don't know.
We have definitely advanced past some things. Pretty much the whole globe agrees that slavery is wrong, although it still goes on. Yeah. Most civilized countries have said, okay, we've shaken that off. I'm sure there's other things that we, that I'm not thinking of real quickly, that we've kind of, as a human race, went, okay, that's bad. We do that with poison gas.
We shouldn't let people starve to death.
Yeah. I mean, now we're not going to go.
Pollution is bad, although it still happens.
Yeah, there's things that still happen, but we've shaken off most things. But yeah, and it could get dark if we went down that road. Some of the stuff that we've probably shaken off. But yeah.
So I wonder, how often does a person like Hawking come along? Hawking come along.
He's by far the most famous, I think, worldwide scientist.
Maybe.
He's I mean, it's hard to compare because I'm not a scientist. I don't know exactly what his lasting contribution will be.
Right.
I know the black hole theory was a big thing, but what was his first big splash that he did while he was in college? I know he was at Cambridge as a teacher for 20 years before he couldn't teach anymore.
Was he one of the multiverse proponents? I don't know.
I don't know. He went back and forth on the existence of God, I know, as well too, where most scientists don't really believe that there is a higher intelligence or order to this. He did for a while, and then he didn't. I don't know where he ended up on that. But
there'll probably be some special reporting now.
I think so. That'll be good to kind of see what he's done. Did you ever see the movie based on his life?
No, I never
it's
have.
It's good. Theory of Everything.
Is he on your wall?
He's British. I don't think he ever became
American. Oh, that's an American. Oh, okay.
Yeah. My wall is just American citizens. But, man, I've got to redo my wall, though. Elon Musk, Trump, these are all people that I probably need to.
Influential.
Yeah. Elon Musk is a South American, Canadian American. So.
He's going to go to Mars. He just got through saying
that goofy dude will do it.
I think he probably will.
Yeah. What if anybody else said, "Hey, here's what we're going to do"?
Is he going to hit the moon first, or is he just going to go on straight to Mars?
He might just go.
Forget it. We've already done that.
Oh yeah. He wants to be. If anybody else said, "Here's what we're going to do. We're going to dig tunnels under L.A. and we're going to lower your car onto a train, and then you're going to pop back," everybody would go, "Oh, you're crazy. Costs too much."
He shot a car into space.
Yeah, he can do what he wants.
And then landed those rockets, which I thought was cool, the booster rockets.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, instead of letting them dump into the
jump?
sea.
Oh,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so rest in peace.
Yeah.
Stephen Hawking. Let's talk about Italy real quick, because we're about to go to Italy, and I want everybody to understand that we might be doing this podcast internationally now.
That would be cool. Yeah, we're going to take this recording equipment with us and see what we can do there. We might. What do we? You know what we need to do? We need to get our Dario, our tour guide, we need to have him sit down with us too, so we can have him involved in this a little bit. That'd be kind of neat. At the end of the day, we're going to sit around and, what did we do today, and sort of reflect. And if nothing else, it becomes like an audio diary of the trip, and we'll get students involved. That'll be fun.
That will be fun. Yeah, these mics pick up pretty well even from a distance. So like if
Yeah.
I think that'll be. This is a good setup to have, and we might stream live if the Wi-Fi that I'm buying works well.
Okay.
We might could do some Facebook Live stuff. History After Hours on
our
History After Hours page. We might not have anybody view it, but
it's only 7 hours difference. There'd be people that might want to participate in that.
Yeah, give them a heads up.
Yeah.
Tune in at this time. But yeah, we're going to try to keep a.
This is how many times have you been to Italy?
5, 6.
Yeah.
This might be my 6th.
This is my second time, and I'm excited to go back to see what I didn't see before. Because sometimes you have to make options.
It's hard to top your first time.
Well, yeah, but this time, this is what I was saying earlier. I actually saw Italy through a lens last time because I was so busy taking pictures and video, and I don't want to. I mean, I want to take pictures, but not to the same extent. I have pictures of certain things. I just want to look at it now and just. I think it'll be more.
It's more relaxing.
Relaxing,
that way,
right?
anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, they say like your first trip to Italy or first trip to anywhere is kind of tough. When you go back, it's not that it's a letdown but you already know kind of what you're getting into.
Mm-hmm.
They say it's kind of like what is it like when you do heroin for the first time? You're always chasing that high for the next 30 years. It's never quite as good after that until you end up in a ditch. All right, so let's talk about some political stuff. The House passes the school safety bill, which looks to do 3 things. So this is the reaction to the gun violence, the school shootings that happened.
You're talking about in Florida?
In Florida.
The Florida House. And the governor signed.
Yes. Well, no, wait.
Yeah, he signed it.
Is it the...
Which one are you talking about?
Okay. Maybe I'm mixing something up. I thought it was
Well, I don't know. In Florida, the House and the Senate finally passed a measure that would raise the legal purchase age for rifles to 21, and then and something bump stocks they banned, and then they also made a provision to allow more teachers to get armed and be in school, and then the governor signed that. Now is this
is the national?
Okay,
This is the House bill today. It just passed today.
Oh, okay.
There is no measure of gun control on it. Guns aren't mentioned. It is money for school officials and local officials for mental health. Locks and metal detectors, money for that allocated for schools, public schools, and then money for mechanisms to have anonymous reporting.
All right. Well, don't you think that that's a good step?
It's something,
but it's not nearly what a lot of people were hoping for.
Yeah,
right?
Democrats were pushing for something with guns. Anything. I don't know that this will satisfy anybody, but it is action.
It's a part of the plan to help alleviate some of the things that lead to the problems that we're facing. So I get that, but I don't think that that's where you can end that, right?
Right. Well, I don't know if we've talked about this on a podcast where Trump had a meeting after the shooting and he said he wanted to take people's guns first.
No, we hadn't discussed that. Yeah, did you? Yeah, forget due process. He said those words, and how can
Pence look like he turned 12 colors because he actually understands? Wow, you can't do that. But Trump is like, I think we take the guns first, then we let them go to court or whatever.
Yeah, I think that they got him in a corner and said, "Look, bro."
Yeah.
Especially the next day when he had the meeting with the NRA, because he had said something about not only taking guns first, but he also said something about being okay with the idea of raising the limit, right? Age limit. And then he came out later and was like, well, I don't know. We'll see about that.
Well, he doesn't know much about it. But obviously he was just agreeing with people because he kept saying, I think we should make it a comprehensive bill. I like comprehensive. People don't like comprehensive, but I like comprehensive. I was like, did he just learn the definition of comprehensive?
So you're going to use the word a lot.
Use the word. Yeah, that's our president. So that is something. Now, we had today as public teachers.
So wait a minute. Let's finish that thought, though. So that sends. Will that bill then go to the Senate to see what they think about it?
Yes. And I think that's what the House Republicans are looking at to see what the Senate does, if they're going to add anything gun-wise to it.
I can't see that they would.
No, I don't either. But that, of course, it'll get stiffened up there. It'll get rewritten. The senators will come in and
they might slash the amount of money. That might be the only thing I would see that they would change. Well, that's too much money.
Yep. So there's that. And we did have, as public education teachers, we had a series, I guess all over the nation, a series of walkouts at 10 o'clock today to protest. What's your initial knee-jerk reaction of students doing kind of self-organizing a walkout in public schools? What was your initial thought? Because I had students coming in and talk to me today about it.
Yeah, we did too. We had students who were like, "Well, what do you think?" It's weird because we're sort of in the middle of this, right? Mm-hmm. As teachers, on one hand, I do respect activism, especially for something like this, and they feel that they're not being represented very well, and that they need to organize themselves and display their angst about the possibility of a school shooting happening in their town or where they are. And so there's an element of danger that I think they're reacting to, and we've seen the thing in Florida was a debacle, honestly, right?
Yeah.
And so I that's okay. And you have you're not 18, but you're a citizen and you have the right to protest peacefully. And that's what I think this was. So on that side of it, I support that idea. However, it's also important to understand that in a school setting, during the school day, we are charged. It's our legal and moral obligation to maintain peace and order and safety and security, and to have an educational process, an academic process that goes on throughout the day. And this would disrupt that. So can we continue to provide a safe and secure academic environment in the middle of a walkout? I don't see see where it gets weird, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I kind of see it both ways. We have to maybe it would have been better to actually organize it through a school setting, but then does the school become political at that point? I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I'm always for people's rights to protest as long as it's nonviolent. Mm-hmm. I think that's part of who we are. School is different. I mean, in order to maintain a safe environment for these hundreds and hundreds of kids that we have under one roof, mm-hmm. you have to take certain rights away. I mean, some rights, because I tell the kids all the time, as soon as you take a step off the school campus, you gain rights. You lose them when you get here, mm-hmm. because we have to have some of these rules in place in order to even teach, to make it even functional. You can't say whatever you want at school. You don't have unlimited free speech at school. We can censor school newspapers, and mm-hmm. we can censor students.
We can search lockers in cars.
We can search lockers. Yeah, we have to do these things, so it's not a free-for-all. Now, with that being said, besides the safety issue of just kids walking out, mm-hmm. At the end of the day, I get showing that. But here's a good protest. Why don't y'all get together and everybody come up with a time to call your senator and your congressman and just bug the mess out of them? Because that might do more good if you had hundreds and hundreds of kids and their parents calling.
Well,
it takes a little
and
time.
I agree too. And that was something that came up with my seniors today. And they were like, well, activism is good, but is this enough? What good is a protest that's ineffective? Are you proving a point? Are you getting what you need across? Are you really going to make change? Or are you just having this demonstration which shows your attitude? Showing your attitude is fine, but it doesn't change anything necessarily. Like, where true activism needs to come through and be efficient, right? If you're how is this actually going to promote change? It's not, I don't think. So, like I said, again, you've got the right to do it, but I don't know that this is the right way to go about it.
A lot of problems with the protests today and around. I remember when they occupied a place in Little Rock there, and it was an Occupy, like Occupy Wall Street. It was an Occupy, whoever led that, and I had no idea what it was. I drove by it a few times. I just saw people in tents. Mm-hmm. Like, their message was completely lost.
Lost, right.
So I think the key to any successful protest is you have to know exactly what you're fighting for. Now, we know what these students wanted. They want some measure of action from the government. Mm-hmm. But once again, walking out, being counted truant, having to take your semester exams, walking back in, at the end of the day, is that putting pressure on our government to do anything? Once again, I think bugging your congressman, that's what they're there for. They got that job to represent people in this area. I would make life very busy for them.
It's localized, and it may cause more people to be interested in their cause, but I don't know that it goes forward from here. Is this, it's just a one-time thing. I don't know how effective it is, and maybe they just don't know what else to do. because sometimes people who don't realize what else to do just do something physical to illustrate things. But yeah, I think you're right. Like, okay, do this, fine. But then you're going to have to. You can't just let that be it. That's like there's a thing, and I don't know if have you heard of this before? It's called clicktivism. It's like activism online where people will they'll click surveys or do this or forward this or retweet this or that, and that's all they do, and they think that they're actually making a difference. Well, that's not.
Right.
You're having a limited range of effectiveness, and actually, it's probably a handful of people actually seeing what you're doing, because it kind of gets lost in the noise. It becomes white noise then in the background,
Yeah.
So I don't.
And also, I encourage students that want to do any of this to become educated on the topic. If this is your thing, if you want to protest gun violence, do some research. Let's try to come up with a plan that will work. Because, people are yelling we should, take all the assault rifles or whatever. Okay, well, is that going to help the problem when only a few of these actually have been done with an assault rifle?
Do you think that that this protest compares with an earlier protest we talked about this year with, this school year, with the kneeling during the national anthem? Because some people said, well, they have the right to protest, but it's a weird time to do it, and is it effective? You have the right.
Right.
Is it the right moment? Is your message getting lost in some of the other things that come along with this? The packaging or the because it got packaged with anti-military and anti-American stuff, and that wasn't what the intent was at all.
Yeah, it might have got misconstrued. The first thing you want any protest to do is get attention. So that definitely got people's attention.
So this does too.
But
it's
this does too.
But I don't know. Like again,
the message is lost because we're not.
I'm much more practical than that. If I'm going to do something, I want it to mean something.
Right.
And if it just stops here, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, is there something else that could be added to that? I mean, for NFL players, protesting during the game, I guess that's their only platform. I mean, when else in their lives are they going to be able to?
Would it have been more effective for them to walk off the field and not play? Then you're talking about some money.
Then you're talking about,
you were talking about hitting people in a pocketbook, and I know they're going to take a loss, but imagine the fans who, because that was one of the things, like, well, people stopped showing up. And the other side was, well, we're not going to go to the games because we're angry that they're protesting. So I saw that side too, right? But I wonder if you were really serious about getting people's attention for this, rather than take that moment, like, go for broke, man.
That's true. Once again, it's a weird thing because that's their job. They're basically employed by a corporation.
Right. Like
even being public teachers, we wouldn't just stop coming to work to protest, polio. That's not. They're so unrelated. If the NFL was out shooting, unarmed black kids, then I could see. But I don't know. Maybe there's another avenue. I think you got to get attention, but then it's got to be like we've said.
I appreciate the messaging, but
right.
I don't know if it's effective, and that's what really matters to me most.
Yes, I agree. That's what makes the civil rights movement kind of the beacon of how to do a protest. It was at the right time. It was done nonviolently, mostly, at least for the marches and the sit-ins, and it was effective. And everybody knew what they were protesting. It was no secret.
And at its best, it was inclusive.
Yeah, correct. You saw white, everybody.
Yeah.
And you had speeches. People shut up and listened to somebody talk. Yeah. And it was advertised, and they had and we have some of that. Obviously, the Women's March. There's been some protest, but yeah, the messaging I think does get lost. So that's what's been going on. I encourage kids to be civically minded and active.
Did we have anybody who actually walked out today? Nobody in my classes did.
No, mine didn't either. They all came in and they're worried about their test, and I was giving a test today, so Well, let's move on to the next topic. Our Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, got fired a couple days ago.
Well, yeah. Was it yesterday? Yeah,
was it yesterday? Oh,
yeah.
Well,
somebody online said they called it the Rexit.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which, do you feel sorry for him? On one hand, this doesn't ruin his life. He's, super wealthy and powerful, and he's got friends, and he's going to get a job, and he's all good, right? Exxon CEO or Exxon CEO. But to find out that you're fired from Secretary of State job, which a job apparently he really did want now, he's like, because he's been working hard. To find out that you're fired over a tweet.
That's pretty rough.
Somebody said it was like, ending a relationship with a Post-it note.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think even at Burger King they call that back office. Go, hey buddy,
hey look,
it's not working out. I don't know. I mean, Trump hired very abnormal people to all of the cabinet positions, and he's pretty upset now with a lot of them. They actually had a thing I saw on the news somewhere where he called a bunch of his cabinet members dead weight, including Ben Carson, Scott Pruitt, John Kelly, and Betsy DeVos.
Are all of these people who have been caught up in some sort of monetary scandal? I know Carson was, and I know Pruitt was.
Pruitt and Carson. Yeah, and then Betsy DeVos
had
some bad press.
Who's the Interior Secretary guy? He was apparently he got a new set of doors that cost $100,000 or some crap. What is his? Anyway, I saw that.
Yeah, some of them were
maybe it wasn't Pruitt, but
top flights and hotels.
That was his thing, like spending taxpayer money on stupid things.
And Carson getting $31,000 worth of furniture,
which he apparently signed off on, by the way. Like he selected that stuff, and now he's being called out for that.
Yeah, someone quoted him and said, "You can't get a decent chair for under $5,000." I was like, okay.
Wow, it's a different world. I wonder if you have like super successful and wealthy people who are sort of used to a standard of lifestyle, and then they move into a position like this, and they don't think anything about spending that kind of money because they would have, and so maybe they don't realize how the optics to a common taxpayer like myself, middle class, I can't afford that.
Right, I know.
So I wonder if their perspective is skewed because of the level of success they've attained.
Right.
And somebody needs to get their attention and go, hey, most Americans aren't you.
It's just...
And that's going to look bad, real bad.
Yeah. I just remember when Trump was picking
especially in this drain the swamp mentality that he's got going, right?
This,
This is swampy.
Yeah, this is swamp. Well, and a lot of them are getting negative press, and Trump doesn't like that. The only body that should get negative press is him.
You don't outshine me.
That's right.
Or out...
And, it's only when they're in the news that he threatens, he gets rid of them. Now, Tillerson, obviously, I think was fired for his Russia comment.
Well, it's a bunch of stuff, too. He would say stuff about North Korea, and then Trump would say something about North Korea, and it'd be very different, and then Tillerson would come back and call him a moron, and then all of a sudden, you've had this back and forth for a while now. It's not like it was unexpected, but I think maybe unexpected now and that way. Because I saw part of his press conference yesterday when he was sort of saying goodbye, and he was a little choked up, seemingly. And again, it's not like I have trouble feeling sorry for the guy because he's going to be okay. But at the same time, that was like, you could tell just, human to human that he was kind of,
Can you explain
about that?
I mean, the only way I've been able to explain Trump's picks in general is that he wants to shrink the size of the government, the federal bureaucracy, so you appoint people who don't like that position. Like, for instance, you've got, what's his name? That was the Secretary of Energy,
Rick Perry, yeah,
who had said multiple times that we should get rid of the Department of Energy.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, well that's what his play. But then Ben Carson comes along, and I guess he's got to give him something.
Didn't we expect him to be Surgeon General? Because he's a brain surgeon.
He might think he's Surgeon General. He might not even know. Nobody's told him that he's actually
housing and urban development.
Did Trump see urban and think, hey, I know a black guy?
I thought about that. I don't want to. He's maybe
is Carson his only black friend?
Maybe. I don't know. Well, he had that Omarosa lady, but she left in a scandal.
Oh, that's right.
And then, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. But that's just, it's going to, I really think he might start purging. Not in a violent way, but in a.
This is purge mentality.
Carson, Pruitt,
you've got to get away.
Kelly,
if you can't agree with me 100% of the time, which is not really good government, do you think? You want to surround yourself with people who are experts in their field who will challenge you on things because you don't know everything, right? Isn't that what you?
That's what I would hope. That you appoint people that are qualified.
You should care that you don't know everything, and you would want to get people around you that would help you on those things that you don't know, and would say, "No, sir, this is actually the thing. Here's how it really works. Here's what the situation really is." No, but I don't think he wants that. He wants people, especially publicly, he wants them to go, yes, line up loyalty, right? Are you loyal to me?
Yeah. So. I remember watching the debates, and I hate to just constantly go back, but they never really, I wanted people to ask Trump point blank questions like, what's the difference between Medicare and Medicaid? Because I really don't think he'd be able to tell you. And then just and when he evades and says, well, both of these things are not going to be touched when I'm president or whatever, you just say, no, but you didn't tell me the difference. I just want to know the difference. And just keep harping until he explodes.
I have a tremendous respect for
Medicare and Medicaid.
Yeah.
And Medicon and
metacarpal,
right.
metatarsal.
With John Kane, John McCain. I like them all. He's crazy. But, that's the thing is like we are in La La Land. And I remind my students constantly like this is a different time. We're living in strange times. This is not normal.
Abnormal. Yeah. Is the new normal.
Okay.
I hope that this doesn't continue. All right, so projecting, definitely. He announced the other day at a rally about his 2020 campaign slogan. Did you see that?
Mm-mm.
Keep America great.
Oh, well, we did it.
It's happened that quickly, right? We're great again. So keep it that way. He announced that at a thing. And he said, I'm not running yet, but here's my slogan.
Oh, yeah.
He's running. He's already running. He's already campaigning. He loves that. I think he really likes that.
Yeah.
I don't think he likes running the country because he's in Florida all the time playing golf. Really, every weekend. There he goes. Even though he bitched about the fact that Obama golfed a lot, apparently.
He's already played.
He said this.
Way more.
You'll never see me. Matter of fact, I'll probably just give up golf. Well, the opposite has been true. He's down there every weekend at taxpayer expense. Whatever. Okay, fine. But I don't think that he likes I don't think he likes governing. I think he likes campaigning.
He likes campaigning. He likes entertaining. And that's probably all this really is at the end of the day to him, is a chance to get in front of the TVs, obviously gain more power, probably tons of money. They said his estimated net worth has went up quite a bit since becoming president. Just being president. I mean, if you're president, people are, I'm sure he doesn't have trouble getting a loan, or his sons do.
You got family members who are trying to milk this seemingly, which is the true definition of nepotism.
Yeah.
Right?
All right, well, let's wrap this up. We're excited about going to Italy and recording this, but I'm going through my March Madness Greatest American bracket. So we get 64 Americans. My kids vote on them. They have to be an American citizen. And I just put random people. We have 4 categories. There's like entertainment and culture. So people like Walt Disney and people like that. And then I got music as a category. I've got politics as a category, like generals and politics and social movements, Martin Luther King, all that. And then I've got science and technology and economics.
Who typically wins? In years past,
it's usually Edison, Einstein. I took George Washington and Lincoln out because they always won. So to make it more competitive, but it's usually somebody like that. Henry Ford gets close, but he usually loses in the Final Four. It's funny too with people that are foreign born, because some students don't want to vote for Einstein because he did spend most of his life not in America.
Germany, yeah.
But then some people say, well, no, that's the American dream. To be an immigrant, to come to America. So
right.
he's just as American, so it's funny to watch these kids debate. But
do you take some time to let them argue it out?
Oh, yeah. Well, right now, I put a survey online and they vote, and then I give them the results, and then they get mad or they get happy. And,
Anybody ever had a perfect bracket?
Nope. We just had a full round, and I think I've only got like 5 or 6 with a perfect bracket, But I kind of switched the matchups on. But it's interesting because, you'll have eventually, when those come together in the Final Four, you will have like Thomas Edison versus Beyonce. It's great. So Trump, I put Trump and Hillary against each other. Trump sails on.
Yeah.
He won by,
I figured.
For 120 kids, I think he won by 30 or 40 votes. It's just, and that shows you Hillary's just a bad candidate. Even the kids know it.
Even in this moment.
Oh well. But who comes to mind if you had to say? And by the way, great. What does that mean? Well, who knows? But I put it something as influential, positive impact, character, and represents America. Like if you had to, this is America, and you had to hold them up, and you couldn't put Lincoln or Washington. Who would you hold up as the greatest American to the world and say, this is America, people?
Wow.
That's a daunting question.
Yeah, I don't have the bracket.
We don't have our list in front
of me. I guess do a lot of people sort of lean heavily towards the entertainers? I mean, I wouldn't, I would think that it would be a political person or some sort of activist like.
Bob Dylan has done good with people that knew who that was, but now they don't.
It's old school, but Frederick Douglass.
Yeah, it seems like it needs to be old school, don't it? You can't imagine holding a contemporary figure up and going, "This is America," really.
To go through, to overcome the amount of obstacles that he overcame, right, and to lead people in the process. Like that's what
Character,
the greatness. But yes,
yeah. So Frederick Douglass, Susan B. Anthony, these are people that I think deserve a spot because they changed America for the best. Now they usually don't do that well. Mm-hmm. The kids always want to vote for either musicians or really politicians, presidents, Teddy Roosevelt. Yeah. People like that, which I'm not saying they.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many arguments that you can make one way or the other. That it's all. Who knows? I mean, because people could be they could be great in their own particular field.
Yeah.
Right? And so that becomes tricky. That's why you have it all bracketed out there.
And some people say we weren't even really America until after the Civil War. We get some voting stuff straightened out. Well, maybe we weren't really America until after World War II, the 50s. That's when we became.
When did we become
America as we think of America? That's a tricky question because if you go any other decade, we had some problems.
What about the guys who actually helped build America, like Rockefeller and Carnegie and J.P. Morgan, the banker? You know what I mean?
Ford.
That list. Yeah, I mean those industrialists have to be in there somewhere, even though. And I think about Carnegie a lot too, because as ruthless a businessman as he was, he built so much and then gave his fortune away.
Yeah.
He was this gigantic
and then gave it
philanthropic effort before he died.
He's the number one as far as philanthropy. He's probably number one of any American. Now that's comparatively speaking, because Bill and Melinda Gates. There's a guy. What about technology? Bill Gates.
Yeah.
He hasn't had that many scandals, has he? He's been a pretty good American. He's done a lot of good.
Yeah, maybe you have to divide that out by era. I mean, I don't know.
Maybe so. All right. Well,
cool.
That's a cool discussion. Anyhow, that's the podcast. We'll see you next time. Make sure you look up us and look for us in Italy, because that's going to be rock and roll. See ya.
Cool.